Hey guys, getting YouTube set up. Awesome. I am super excited. Back, day 2, becoming the most requested coach in your gym. I want to recap some of what we talked about in day 1. First and foremost, for those of you guys that weren't here, but you can always go back and watch the other video. They will be live on YouTube for the next week. But day 2 is going to be about testing and retesting. So make sure you stick around if actually finding out how to start testing your athletes in order for them to get buy-in. Because like we talked about in the first video, what are the assets that happen with the world's most requested coaches, with the world-class coaches that are coming in whenever you want to work with a person? And what we talked about was number 1 was proven results. They're working with people and they're giving them the results that they are requesting. The other pieces of the puzzle was they're a part of mentorships, collaborations, that they themselves are showing up and really in their best energy. They're really changing and bringing tons of those insights as well. And those are all the important pieces that really attract people to them. Trust. But one of those things in trust is proven results. And that's where testing and retesting comes in. You have no idea if you're meeting the goal if you never test the goal. You also don't know where to start on this avenue if you're not testing first. So testing and retesting can save times and it can save relationships. The way that it saves relationships is by trust. It's by allowing people to peek behind the curtain in your process and really see what's going on and why your mind is working a specific way. Also, testing and retesting allows you to take radical responsibility for what's going on. If someone isn't progressing and they've been following your program, then you know that you need to tweak and change something in your program. Just like we covered on the first day, this is not for you if you've never been frustrated with an athlete before during your coaching or training. So if there's never been an athlete that has been a struggle for you to get through coaching, then this isn't going to ring home for you. If you are not a coach, a physical therapist, personal trainer, athletic trainer, chiropractor, someone that's working with clients in a group or one-on-one setting or looking forward to that, then this training isn't for you. If none of your clients have ever experienced a plateau before, then this isn't for you. And if you are not looking to develop yourself into the best coach, trainer, physical therapist, chiro possible, then really this group and the community that we're developing isn't going to be for you. That's really what we're trying to do, is take people that really want to be great and give them the very simple skills that they need in order to facilitate greatness. This is for you if you want to work successfully with a variety of different types of athletes and clients, different mindsets and performance capabilities. If you are working or want to work one-on-one with clients to improve their health and fitness. So even if you're in the group fitness right now and you desire to keep working one-on-one, but maybe you don't want to spend all the extra time that it takes to add more personal training sessions, this is for you. The rest of this training for the rest of this week, so important. You want to grow your skills to decrease plateaus, pain and injuries and mental blocks for your clients or for yourself. And you want to develop into a community with mentorship and collaboration. That's what these next 4 training series is really about. If you are like most coaches we see and work with, you lead with the problem and the methodology is the result. This is the number 1 issue that I see in coaching and in the coaching industry and in the physical therapy industry, calling out myself as well. And this is really where I used to be as well. So the problem would be, like for me as a physical therapist, this athlete has back pain. And the methodology that I would jump to would be using the FMS or using the McKinsey method or using traction. And I would jump to the methodology as a solution, Graston, cupping, whatever it might be. And that is what was going to get the person where they are. What happens though, is that I was so focused on the back pain and so focused on the methodology that I missed all this other circumference of what makes this person an individual and what makes this person's life. How many other pieces was I missing? Well, I was just focused on a problem and I was missing bigger goals, bigger lifestyle issues that was leading to repetitions of a problem. Maybe someone's showing up for you, they're joining your gym and they want to lose weight. How many times have they tried to lose weight before? Or how many times have they tried to stick with the gym before? And you sell them the CrossFit methodology. You're going to be here. There's tons of people. It's a great community. We do strength training combined with high aerobic work, which is the best for a healthy lifestyle. And you sell them on the methodology, but you forget to check in on them on the rest of their lifestyle. What does the rest of their life look like? And how many other pieces do you need to be integrated with or bring other people on board to really help them as an individual grow their life? What we talked about yesterday was the coaching client qualifier. Qualifying clients is step number one to creating a unique experience for them, getting to know them, getting to know what barriers to success are they having, what barriers to achieving their goal are there, how many times have they tried to achieve this goal before, are they committed, how are they in the motivational pyramid, and what are the biggest things that are holding them back. This is a really great thing to do if you've never worked with a client before, or if you've already seen them in the gym setting. Maybe you're already working with people. Let's use the coaching client qualifier now to figure out where these people fall. We looked at two aspects of really coaching motivated athletes and really combining that for lifelong relationships. We looked at attitude and coachability, and then we looked at where are they really at in performance. And we talked about all the different athletes. So people that have the low coachability, but they're really high level performers. So they're super fun. They are great to work with because they perform at this really high level. They pick up skills super quick, but they're always the one upper. Anything you can do, I can do better. And they don't bring the best aspect to your coaching relationship or to your gym relationships with other people. And then you've got the person that I say that, oh, you poor dear, they're the go-getter. They have great coachability, really awesome attitude, but they are very poor athletic performance. They struggle to get things. They need a lot of repetition, a lot of cueing in order to move forward with people, which can take a lot of your coaching energy. Just like up here, your one up or anything you can do better takes a ton of your coaching energy. Because of their poor attitude, over here, they're taking a ton of your energy because of their athletic performance. And then here we've got the must be nice guy. This is the person you got to chug the whole pot of coffee in order to work with. They're the person with the poor coaching attitude and the poor performance. They're the ones that are literally like pulling teeth to get them to move forward in their journey, to check their level of commitment, all of those pieces. And then up here, you have your mobility athlete. You're a person that you love working with. They're a high level performer and they also have a great attitude. They fill your cup every single day when you show up in your coaching relationship. They're the people that our clientele I love talking to. They're the people whenever I open up my schedule and I see them and one of my kids is sick or I'm sick and I'm like, oh man, I do not want to reschedule this person. I love working with them. They bring so much energy. Maybe I can find a way to fit them into my schedule today. They're the person that when you leave, you're just inspired to sign up for another continuing education class because they fill you up so much. You want to learn more. And what we want to do is for you to be the most requested coach. You want everyone here to move to this mobility athlete. That's your job as a coach, right? Improve their mindset, improve their performance. The closer you get them to here, not only are you committed to lifelong relationships with these people, they're committed to a lifelong relationship with you. And also, everyone else wants to be a part of your community too. They all want to work with you because they see how much you've changed these people's lives. Sometimes people will walk in and they're already this person and they're asking you just to tweak and make them better and better and better. Majority of time, all of these people are who are walking in and asking us to coach them, but they don't know where they're at. Maybe we don't know yet either. And so we want to move them forward. And how do we move them forward? This is really the 5 parts that we believe are the most important, and this is what mobility mastery is entirely built around. The first 2 steps are coaching energy and commitment. So we talked about very briefly, the coaching qualifier is the very first step in kind of assessing where's your energy going to be spent with a client and what kind of commitment or motivation are you going to need to pull from them. We're going to talk more about this on the last day too. And then the more practical skills come in, the more practical coaching skills come in, or I guess like the more logistical side, the more learning side. And then what we're talking about today is testing. And then from testing, connecting the brain and body. So programming pieces come in here, connect the brain and the body. But you can't program if you've got no idea who you're programming for, what you need to focus your time and energy on, and what pieces physicality wise do they actually need. So as you guys know, you can have the best mindset in the world, but without a path or direction, you will be lost. This is the person that's the go-getter, maybe. This is the person that has a great mindset. They're committed, but without a path or direction, without the right testing to see what performance pieces can you add as a coach, they will be lost and their mindset will dwindle right along with it. You can have somebody with the best mindset and be a poor performer. You never test them and they never see a progression. And guess what? Their mindset will dwindle, dwindle, dwindle. They will be frustrated. And that's how a lot of people are showing up to us. Maybe they've worked with other coaches, other trainers, other gyms, and they show up frustrated because they still never achieved their goals. Testing is the key. Testing is the buy-in. Brett Bartholomew talks a lot about conscious coaching. And I think one of the keys in conscious coaching is testing. That's where the athlete buy-in comes in. If they can see that you're taking responsibility as a coach, that you believe your programming works so much, you're willing to test and retest it to actually make sure that they're progressing towards their goal, that's buy-in. They know that they can trust you and you're never going to turn around and point the finger because actually you're following them step by step. And you know when you need to take responsibility and when they need to take responsibility. It's very transparent for both of you. And testing does that. When we talk about testing, these are the specific things that we're talking about. Joint by joint mobility testing. So looking at each progression, joints and muscles fall into that. Stability testing, and then strength testing and ratios. Specifically today, we're going to go through our mobility checklist, and I'm going to share with you each of those pieces so that you can actually see that. And then in mobility mastery, we talk about the stability testing and the strength testing and how all those fall in. Because as you guys know, you can't have true mobility and true flexibility without the strength to actually demonstrate those patterns in different relationships and in your gym experience. Just pure flexibility, oh, I can bend over and touch my toes, but I can't do a deadlift, is really a waste of practicality time. And most of our people will see that. Also, it's very easy to lose a flexibility if you don't have the strength to back it up and the resiliency to demonstrate that throughout your life. So what happens when testing is not completed? What do you think happens when you as a coach do not test? So you show up and you fall into that original pattern where you lead with the problem and you really don't do any full body testing, right? So then you fall into this, like the most coaches we see, the number one problem that I really see in the fitness industry, you're leading with the problem or the goal, whatever they show up for. So they want to lose weight. And maybe the only test that you actually do, rather than looking at the whole spectrum, maybe you'd like, I am a really on my steps to be a great coach. So I test and maybe I do a body fat test. Maybe I do an in-body scan. Maybe I do skin calibers. Maybe I do their weight. And you do that one test that's associated with the one thing that they came to you for. And then your methodology is all shaped around that. How many other things did you miss for buy-in if you did that? You missed strength, muscle gains. You missed like the lifestyle pieces, right? Most people come to lose weight. Most people stay because it completely changes their lifestyle, changes the sphere of people that they're surrounded with, changes their attitude, changes their fulfillment in life. And you missed all of that. Also, a lot of people show up and they say weight loss, but they also maybe haven't been competitive. And the last time they remember being competitive and loving their body is when they were a high school football athlete. And what was that? Oh, that was daily training. They had competition. They were able to show up and they improved with their lifts, which kept them motivated. And we missed all those pieces because we just dialed in on the problem rather than picking up a whole lifestyle for people. We can still stay focused on the goal. We can still share with them the goal, but now we have a lot more pieces of buy-in to get to that goal and for the next goal and the next goal and the next goal and the next goal, which builds a unique relationship between us. Like I talked about in the very first day, that strong coach relationship, lifelong relationships. I have clients that have been with me for 10 years. They're not still injured for 10 years. No way. They are progressing. And each time I get to add a little bit of something else because I'm able to pick up on their unique journey. So, what happens when someone comes to us and they say, maybe their goal is every time I squat, my chest always falls forward? And what happens when we don't test? When testing does not get completed? So, we just look at their squat. They squat down, chest falls forward. What do you immediately do if you don't do any testing? Right. So those of you guys that are in on the chat. So what happens is that you immediately say, keep your chest up. So you start giving cues, right? The next thing is that you say, oh yeah, well, I had another client where I used to be like that too. And then I started working on my mid back strength. So maybe then you start giving them some bent over rows, some other more back strengthening, posterior chain strengthening. Maybe somebody else jumps in and says, oh, yeah, this happened to me because my ankle mobility wasn't good. I really started stretching my ankles and then I got in way better positions. All of a sudden, you're throwing solutions at them without ever testing. And what does that do? We assumed. And when we assume, you know what that does. It makes an ass out of you as the coach. But when I say me, I also mean out of the client, because the client will do what you ask them to do. They're bought in, they want to improve this, and they came to you with this problem because they believe that you have a solution. So they're already bought in. That the fact that they even showed up for you, like, woo, they already trust you. You're already one of the greatest coaches in the gym because they're already coming to you. But now to truly be the most requested, to truly be world class, you have to get them a result. And if you don't do testing and they do what you say and they don't get better, they don't get the fast changes, they don't get sustainable growth, guess what? They don't keep working with you. They don't want more advice from you. Or they feel embarrassed that you told them to do this stuff and they did it, but they didn't really see any results. So then they kind of fell off of it. And they're the people that are like, yeah, I know I should be doing more stretching. I'm sorry. And you as a coach, you automatically assume that you're in the right, that you gave them the right thing to do, and that they're the one at fault because they didn't follow through. When maybe they did follow through and it actually didn't get them the changes they wanted. And you didn't have a testing protocol in place. So you didn't get the commitment, you didn't get the follow through, you didn't get the results, and you don't actually know if it was your fault or the client's fault or where it falls. That's where the problem in coaching comes if you are skipping testing, specifically full body testing. You get so narrow-minded when you fall into the number one problem I see in the fitness industry, focusing only on the problem, not on the whole individual person's life, only on the goal, not on the whole life, that then you sell a methodology or you sell one piece in time rather than selling yourself as the greatest coach that they can work with, rather than selling your expertise into their unique journey about their life. And then it all grows. So once you've started with the person, you know where they're at on the coaching client qualifier, you've done a motivational interview with them, you can kind of piece together where everything's at. You've spent a little bit of time with them, or you've seen them in group class, so you know where they fall. So now you know the person and you know their goals. Now, to start their true journey of training with you and getting the most out of their coaching relationships, you have to test. And we're going to start with mobility testing. With mobility testing, you guys can do a couple things. You can do by body part, but make sure that you're at least getting above and below that body part. So meaning that if their mid back is the problem, so let's just say that their chest is falling forward in the squat. That's a great example. You need to at least check their spine. So neck, mid back, low back, because they're falling forward in the squat. So you're going to check their whole spine. And then you need to check their one above and one below. So you need to check their hips and you need to check their shoulders at least, if not more than that. Okay. So by body part, or someone comes to you and they feel like their wrist flexibility is really holding them up. Their wrists bother them while they're doing push-ups. Okay. So now I'm going to look at their actual wrist. I'm going to look at their hand, maybe grip strength. What does like a pull-up actually look like? What's the reverse of that look like? I'm going to look at their elbows and I'm going to look at their shoulders. So I'm going to go above and below at least one segment. Somebody reports that they have tight hamstrings. They can't lean over. Okay. I'm going to look for sure at minimum at their hips, right where the hamstrings are. I'm going to look at their knees because hamstrings attached there. I'm going to go one farther below. I'm going to look at their ankles and I'm going to go one farther above and I'm going to look at their low back. Does that make sense how we're going through all of these pieces? So at minimum, you got to go above and below at least one thing. And I like kind of the opposite. So if it's somebody that says their hamstrings are really tight, then you might want to look at their quads too. Like, what does the balance there look like? Is their deadlift really difficult, but their squats really easy? What's their patterning there? By developmental sequence is another way to look at it, which I like doing this. This is how our mobility checklist is set up. And it's also set up this way so that for client convenience, so kind of both. So developmental sequence is, okay, I'm going to look at things laying down. I'm going to look at things in kneeling. I'm going to look at things in standing. And I think this is convenient for the client because you're not having them jump all over the place. So you do everything laying down, then you do everything kneeling, and then you do everything standing, rather than like, okay, I'm going to look at your ankle joint. I'm going to look at your calf raises in standing. I'm going to look in half kneeling, and then going and being like, okay, now I want to look at your knees. So I'm going to look at child's pose. Can your hips get back? Do you see what I'm talking about as we're going through these flows? And it's more convenient for the client because they don't have to get up and down, up and down, up and down. And then really something to think about when you're thinking about mobility is looking at joint restrictions, looking at muscle restrictions, so actual flexibility issues, looking at motor control. How is the brain kind of connecting? Is it limiting anything? And then looking at strength demonstration. So you can kind of look through all of those parts. And you don't have to do all of this in one day. This is going to develop over time. Every single time you see this person, you should be testing. And at a minimum, you should probably be doing some sort of testing formally every month, but maybe give them one thing that they're testing so that they can start seeing improvements. I like these testing systems. FMS has one, Active Life has one. There's so many systems. Specifically, I'm trained by the functional movement system. I think that they're awesome. They are the most researched movement system. Is it perfect? Heck no. But guess what? They're continuing to do research on it and continuing to see that improvement. So let's go ahead. This is our mobility checklist that we're going to go through today. And I want to go through it quickly. So on purpose, I'm going to move through this rather quickly. You guys can kind of watch me in the upper hand corner here as we go through, but I'm going to leave the checklist up here to the side. So that way you can kind of see between the two of us. I'm going to pull my camera over here to my gym area so that you guys can see. And let's just go through. Now, as you guys go through, if you want to learn how to score this specifically, what you guys can do is you guys can actually download this checklist, mobilityathletes.com/checklist. You can go and download this checklist, and it's going to tell you exactly what to do with the dog, the horse, and the elephant. So I'm not going to go through that in depth, but go download it and you guys can check all of that out. So we're going to do standing to half kneeling here. So we're just going to go through kind of this standing progression here. So going through, number one is the toe touch. Let me just drop this down just a little bit more. Okay. So number one, feet all the way together, down, touch your toes. Good. Client then does extension. So coming, hands all the way up, hips pushing forward, leaning back. How far back can they go? Arms here, palms back, and then looking at shoulder extension. How far back can their shoulders actually extend? Okay, and then coming through and doing, let's go ahead and do wrist flexion and extension. So then we can come down to kneeling. I like to do just prayer stretch, reverse prayer stretch, just for a quick look. What does this look like? Okay, so you can see those two there. And then you can do in kneeling or in standing, you can do neck flexion, neck extension. You can also look at rotation if you would like, turn side to side. Then you can have them go ahead and go through tibial rotation. So you can do this seated or you can do it in half kneeling. Seated's a little bit easier. I'm going to show you in half kneeling just so that you can see this. Foot stays flat on the floor, foot turns in as far as it can without the knee moving. Knee stays straight and then out as far as it can. And then we're going to turn to the side and look at dorsiflexion. Heel stays flat, knee over the second toe. You guys have probably seen this one with facing a wall. 5 inches in front of the big toe is normal for males, 4 inches for females. And that takes care of this first part. I'll go ahead and scan through the rest of the things just so that you guys can see what else is on here. But I hope you guys can see how fast that actually went. Boom, 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 boom. Look, and I'm not necessarily measuring stuff. I'm going, okay, is this like completely functional? Good. I'm just going to leave it alone. Is it limited? And then I'm going to go, how limited? Dog, very little. Horse, medium. Elephant in the room, going to give that a big circle. Okay. So for example, like my full body extension and my toe touch, pretty limited. And then as you guys go through and get this checklist, now this next page is just everything that I do with people on their back or on their stomach is the last part. So you guys can kind of see all of these pieces. So you can download this and go through all of this with your clients. And then you're just going to mark it. What else might you want to do? What else did we miss going through here? Yes, good. So there's some things coming in like, okay, would we look at mid-back extension, which wasn't on there? Could we look at full squat patterns? Yes, 100%. Could we look at lifting? Yes. So video analysis, all of those pieces, start videoing, start looking through, but give yourself 10 to 15 minutes to do some sort of testing. And the more you can break it down, the more accurate you can be with your programming. So when we get to tomorrow, connecting the brain and body, now you can be super accurate because you know what the testing has revealed to you. From here, where do you begin? Where do you begin with that programming? Where do you begin with connecting the brain and body? This is important where we understand where is flexibility, where is motor control, where is strength. And it's a continuum, right? Like I'm not going to train all flexibility and not do any strength with somebody. I'm not going to do all strength and not do any flexibility pieces. So it's a continuum. And in a one training session, you might hit all 3 components of that. I love when people hit all 3 components. Corey Neal, who is our head programmer, is excellent at this. Every single time that he programs every day. So let's say somebody comes in and they're working on shoulder extension. He might give them a shoulder extension stretch on the barbell on the rig, and they might be holding that for 30 seconds to a minute. Then he might give them specific back strengthening exercises. So like bat wing rows, something along those lines to follow it up with strength. And then he's going to kind of do the reverse. He might actually add in like a pec stretch and then add in bicep curls to protect the front of the shoulder. So he's adding in and really combining these things really beautifully based on that person's testing and unique needs based on their goals. So where do we begin? Step 1, where is this person? Where is most of your energy and your expertise as a coach needing to go? So are they somebody that is a poor performer and you need to do more testing to figure out where is their athletic performance actually limited? This could be somebody that's still a high performer too, but you might want to focus more of your testing and time getting just a little bit better of like a commitment from them, getting more dialed in on what specifically it is they want, and then letting that direct some of your testing. Step two that you're going to look at is okay, now that I know exactly what they need, now I know how this pie chart really works out. So maybe I need to concentrate most of my testing with the person that's the one upper. I'm going to spend the bulk of my time there so that they know exactly what my expectation is for them to improve and exactly how my program is being built. So they're completely bought in before we even start. Maybe an athlete with poor performance, you get a couple of tests in there and you've circled 5 or 6 elephants. Okay, the testing portion is done super fast. And you're going to go in and you're going to start immediately building. So more of your concentration is over here on the connecting the brain and body with just a few tests because they didn't pass majority of them. So you can start easy. And as you go through the testing, to start creating programs, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, connecting the brain and body, where you're going to start is, okay, where are the elephants in the room? Those things are the most uncomfortable. You're going to get the fastest changes with the elephants in the room. Then you're going to move on to the horses and then to the dogs. And what you'll find is a lot of times when you address the elephants, the horses fall away, the dogs fall away, and you get really resolution really fast. You don't individually have to work on each item, which is why it becomes so important to do testing on a regular basis. And also why it's so important to look at the individual and the person as a whole rather than just at their problem, because their problem or goal might be set and you might be missing the elephant in the room if you only focus on that. You might be missing what's been causing their plateau or an injury over and over and over again that's inhibited them from reaching it because you never just looked around the problem. You never looked in all the other areas. Instead, you just assumed and you jumped in. This is where testing is so important. Like I said, if you guys want to check out the checklist, mobilityathletes.com/checklist, completely free. Go download it there. Run through it with your athletes. Run through it with yourself. Where are your elephants in the room? Where are the horses? Where are the dogs? Where can you see your biggest zones for improvement? Bring those tomorrow when we talk about connecting the brain and body together. I'm so excited to continue to share this with you. Drop in the comments below if you're on YouTube and let us know, or shoot us an email back if you are watching this through our email list. Either way, we are so excited to have you. And I hope that you're getting tons of value on really how to keep moving forward. If you're already here, you already are a great coach. As you continue to move into a world-class coach, all these pieces can get more and more dialed in. And I'm just so thankful that you're here, you're participating, which already shows what greatness and what great potential you have. Share this with a friend who can also improve and continue to dial in their greatness and coaching, who is somebody that you really value.